So we're reaching the end of 2025, and after a relatively busy fall season, we find ourselves in a familiar situation that all true MMO Andies know a little bit too well. That's the I want to play an MMO, but there's nothing to play situation. Now that the busy season is over and we're right back to that also familiar situation, I finally have time to check out a game that's been on my radar to play for a very long time. That game being Warhammer Online. That's right, the Warhammer MMO that launched back in the day that was supposed to be one of the real contenders of being a WoW killer, or rival at the very least, but ended up being shut down and ended service. Since the game shut down, there was a private server that was launched as a passion project called Return of Reckoning that is still in service to this day. The difference, however, between this private server and all the other ones, or most of the other ones I should say, is that this one actually has official approval to be run similar to City of Heroes' Homecoming private server that's also able to be legally run, so I'm told. That is under the circumstance that they do not make any money off of the game. In other words, this means the game can't monetize, therefore cannot be pay to win. Okay, so it's a legit server. Now let me tell you what has me hooked on it right now and why this game has such a good reputation if you search up on it. Because that's what you'll find. You'll find most people saying positive things about it, and if you do a search for it, by the way, be sure to also search up twitch.tv/KanonXO and hit the follow button there, because apparently if you do, recent scientific studies have shown that you would be considered to be objectively cool and awesome. So what is Warhammer and what makes it so great? As someone who has just started to play recently, I can't tell you everything about the game. In fact, I have no idea how good or fun the endgame will be. Most people who have played it will probably tell you it's good, but I'm not going to do that because I'm still new to the game. What I can tell you is what I've seen so far, and as far as I can tell, this feels like a PvP-focused version of classic WoW meets Guild Wars 2 World vs. World. If you've never played Guild Wars 2's World vs. World, it's pretty much a 24/7 RVR-type large-scale battlefield where you go out there either solo, in a party, or in a raid, and you kill opposing faction members while completing objectives. As you do this, you gain currency and rewards that allow you to progress your character, which includes your character's best in slot gear. It really is a PvPer's dream, considering you don't really have to PvE at all and still progress your character. When you start Warhammer, it will probably remind you or feel like you're playing an alternate version of classic WoW. And no, I don't mean classic WoW in terms of content. I just mean in terms of like how the world feels, how your character moves, just the general vibe of the game/world. Only this game allows you to immediately PvP in a relatively scaled environment separated by 4 tiers. First tier being levels 1 through 16. There is a gearing process within each tier, so it's not completely balanced, but it allows new players to start completely fresh and PvP. Unlike most games where you're completely irrelevant in PvP until you pump hundreds of hours into the game to level and gear up. This, I think, is one of the biggest selling points to the game, because you not only immediately have fun out the gate without the need to grind to experience the fun, but you're also able to immediately play with and interact with players who have been playing for years. All they would have to do is make a fresh character to play with you, and despite this game being a small niche one that usually peaks around 1k peak concurrent as far as I've seen recently, it certainly does not feel dead, at least in tier 1. In fact, there are multiple raids going on constantly, and it's kind of lit. At least it's been every time I've personally been on, to the point where I've had to try and escape the Zergs so I could also experience some smaller scale PvP. One of the good things about Zergs being present in your game, by the way, is that it means there are people playing the game. So why do people just PvP right away? Because the progression is directly tied to it. You quite literally go around and participate in the PvP just as you would in World vs. World and Guild Wars 2, and farm currency to buy and progress your gear, best in slot gear, by the way. If PvP isn't your thing, the game also offers the classic leveling system with dungeons, quests to also look forward to. But it's very clear that the game's niche lies with its PvP focus. I do want to experience the PvE myself, but it's been really nice to dive into an MMO and not feel like the fun content is hundreds, thousands of hours away. And with that said, there are some inconveniences, however, that you'll face if you're a brand new player. Things like the map and what to do isn't super clear, so having guidance would make your experience way better. For example, we talk about being able to just immediately PvP at level 1. In order to do so, you need to bind a hotkey in your options for the War Report menu, which is a menu that would teleport you straight to the PvP war zone. Most new players obviously will have no idea what a war report even is or how to even start PvPing if they wanted to. I also think the map is a bit confusing and inconvenient, but I don't really want to go through a long list of things that the game needs to improve on. Last thing I want to mention is that I'm also really curious as to how much depth this game really has. Sure, the early game PvP and PvP progression systems sound great, I still want depth to my MMO. I want there to be more to do and explore than just PvP battlegrounds. All in all, so far, it's been a blast and a breath of fresh air playing an MMO, being able to PvP without all the grind, but still having a grind to look forward to. As of now, I'm also in that I'm looking for something to play both, and for now, I'm planning on playing some more Warhammer. If you're interested in trying the game out for yourselves, you're more than welcome to join our guild and community, the 1HP community. The Discord link can be found in the description below. Lastly, I want to mention, I do think it's very impressive what these guys have done to keep this game up to this day, providing regular updates to the game, all while making zero on it. A true passion project for the people. That's pretty much going to wrap this one up, guys. Let me know your thoughts on Warhammer and whether or not this is a game that you're going to give a shot in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I am planning on doing an MMO Gauntlet series where I dive into a ton of MMOs, try it out, and you guys vote whether or not we're going to continue playing. So that's going to happen starting on Saturday, the 27th on Twitch. I'm also going to be doing it with another content creator or more content creators. So definitely don't miss out on that. I'll see you guys in the next video.